Welcome to Massive Beers. My name's Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Very excited for today's offering. Conclave. Love me some Conclave. One of my favorite breweries, period, end sentence. Yeah. One of my favorite breweries in New Jersey. One of my favorite tap rooms in Jersey. And just all around great brew. From the beers to the location, the tap room, the people. Tip top. Across the board. Very, very rarely get misses from them. And this is their first barrel-aged beer I'm having from them. Technically, that's not true. I did their, forget the name, it was a farmhouse ale. That was in wood, so technically it was barrel-aged, but this is the first time we're dealing with spirits and a big burly kind of stout kind of thing. I've been chomping at a bit. I actually didn't think I'd be able to review this. I think my buddy Keith did this, and maybe both versions of this. It actually comes in a vanilla and a coconut version. We're dealing with the coconut version here. So go check him out, 93 Lumber, if you've never been there. And just happened to get down to the brewery, and they still had some. So I grabbed some. It's a very good story, isn't it? Anyway, this is their barrel-aged Sable. Conclave Brewing Imperial Stout, 11.3%. This is aged... Sorry. Man, that fridge is so annoying. This is aged in Penelope bourbon barrels. Don't know who that is. And conditioned on coconut. Brewed by Conclave Brewing Company, Raritan Township, New Jersey. Flemington, essentially, New Jersey. Done and done. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Yeah, you can see it right there. Get good light on it. It's got like a little yaki. Antelope Sable. No, it's got a Sable. That's a Sable, right? Is that what it is? Anyway, so, I mean, you're talking about this kind of, nice kind of cut out, contour cut label. It's gold on black, but it's very, very, very subtle. Kind of speaking my language. Kind of speaking it. So let's see if we can find a bottle opener. And let's dive in. Yeah, so they had the vanilla and coconut. When I went down there, they actually only had the coconut available. The person working behind the bar, who I don't know, which is weird because every time I go there, I know everybody that works there essentially. He's like, we don't have any vanilla. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, actually, I'm team coconut, son. So, yeah, win for me. As far as that beer pours, not a big head on it. I poured it fairly aggressive. You give it a good agitation. You get a little bit of head out of it. It's just not a big head. You're talking about 13 and change. I didn't call that out, I don't believe yet. 11.3, sorry, percent alcohol by volume. But you're talking about 1, barrel aged, 2, coconut. Coconut's very hard with head retention because of the oils in coconut. Even if they're kind of dehydrated and all that stuff, you still get it in there. So a lot of times you don't get a big, huge, lush head out of it. You can even see there's a bit of particulate floating around in there. That's probably your coconut at play, but it looks all the part of a big, burly stout. Let's get a nose. That smells awesome. It smells awesome for a couple different reasons. One, it smells like it's a really beautiful base stout. Bittering. Russian Imperial-esque kind of base to it, because there's a roasty toastiness, but there is something a little bit more bittering to it. It's not super hyper aggressive. I think it's been tempered with a little bit of time actually sitting in a barrel and whatnot. And then when you throw it into that barrel, this Penelope barrel, I think it's just, their version of a bourbon, even probably like a local brewery or maybe a New Jersey-based brewery. I'm not sure. I'm not up on my spirits. But it comes off as a base kind of bourbon, but really it's more the barrel that kind of imparts here. So you have that coconut that's added to the beer. Not all that big, not all that kind of moundsy, which is your fresh kind of coconut. It's more of a marriage between a subtle coconut addition and a coconut from the actual barrel itself. And then when you take that bittering portion of the show, that barrel or the beer roasty toastiness, combine it with that barrel charriness, I think there's a really nice kind of play in there, at least on the nose. So you're getting equal parts beer, equal parts barrel, equal parts spirit here. But nothing comes off overly hot. Again, 11.3%. Not a huge ABV beer, but big enough. And the barrel and the spirit is is very present, but at the same time, like I said, there isn't a huge heat to it. So you don't say anything about time that this spent in the barrel. It smells like it's been in there for a year plus, but again, who knows? But it is a nice kind of equal parts. Now, the trick is if those equal parts all drink as one. I guess we're gonna find out when we drink it. How about we just do that? Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. Okay, not too shabby. It's a little bit disjointed. There's the DNA of something fantastic, but there's a bit just of disconnect here. Undercarbonated. That's the biggest thing that jumps out to me. I kind of chalked it off to that coconut kind of tempering a bit of that carbonation. Or head, I'm sorry. Because you can still get the carbonation, it just doesn't really generate a head. It's actually undercarbonated. I want a little bit more carbonation, especially something like this, because it does have a big vanilla milk lactose kind of vibe to it. I'm not saying that's added there, but if you take that coconut, you take that barrel, you take that vanilla from that barrel, it does have this kind of lactosey vibe to it. I think it needs to have, if you're going to lean anywhere, just a subtle overcarb as opposed to a definite undercarb. I think that works better for the beer. And this just kind of comes off a little bit undercarb. And it almost kind of hamstrings the beer a little bit just because of that. The beer itself actually is quite bittering. Roasty, toasty bittering, combination of astringent roasted malts and actual bittering itself from hops. I dig on that. But again, the lack of carbonation, I think, just amplifies that a bit. I think if it's more carbonated, I think it comes off a little bit softer, and I think that adds a little bit of balance to the beer. The spirit here, probably my favorite thing. Yeah, the actual barrel itself and the spirit, probably tied, but they come off both beautifully. That spirit comes off as a soft kind of bourbony thing, not really a big cherry thing, so it's more an American whiskey than a bourbon, but for me, it is bourbon through and through. Just something about it just makes me want to say that. And it comes off with zero heat, but a nice aggressiveness without being overpowering. Go back to the barrel. It is that combination of the charriness, which I think amplifies a little bit of the bittering. Again, I think that'd be tempered by a little bit better carbonation. But that charriness and that richness is almost like a score bar, kind of like torched chocolate kind of vibe to it, which is one of my favorite things when it comes to a barrel. Only gets second fiddle to the coconut portion of the show. I'm sure the addition of coconut here is what is driving that coconut portion of the show, but I can't help but think there's a definite helping hand from the barrel, because barrel coconut is a completely different specimen, a completely different beast in addition added coconut, and it feels like they're playing together here in like concert. They're not like, it's not just one and mimicking the other. I think there's a nice coconut addition in combination with getting coconut from the barrel. It drinks, man, it really is that carbonation, I think, that really kind of keeps it from being some like next level stuff for me. Because I can see this being a very, very tasty beer. It has that nice big rich malt base that comes off bitter and that can stand up to that sweet on sweet from that coconut and from that spirit. It just, when you have that lack of carbonation, it almost puts a governor on the experience, you know? It's like driving a Lamborghini and you're only allowed to go 65. It's a great ride, man. You're having a blast. You're in a beautiful car. You just wanted to scream, you know? And that's where the carbonation in this, I think, kind of tempers it. Tasty beer. This will not be poured out. This will be drank. This will be drank over a course of time and let it warm up and see how it changes and all those kind of things. I think this is quite fantastic. For a first barrel-aged offering from a brewery, I think this is very, very nice. It reminds me a lot of Reeve Brewing from Florida, their stuff. Very reminiscent of the kind of stuff that they've done. I used to get them a lot. My boy Carson, he lives in Colorado now. But I used to get their stuff a lot. I'm trying to think of the particular beer. He sent me so many, it's hard to differentiate. But just the overall vibe, it reminds me very much of their beers, and I thought their barrel program was quite fantastic, so I dig this. Now I kind of wanted to try the vanilla portion just to see where this kind of landed, but in the grand scheme of things, the first offering of a big barrel-aged beer, I think it's quite tasty. Just that carbonation really kind of just, like I said, hamstrings it, governs it a bit, and in a perfect world, just add that carb, baby. Mouth feels great even for that low carbonation. Oh, man, I really do like that combination of that bittering and that sweet. And it is absolutely a Russian Imperial Stout base. It has to be. And just comes off. It's really tasty, delicious, albeit undercarbed. Barrel aged offering. Yeah, really good stuff. I'm a fan, even though it doesn't sound like the most glowing review in the world. I think this is quite tasty, and while it would have been great if it was 100% home run from the get for a brewery that I dig so much, I still dig this quite a bit, and I can't wait to try their other stuff that comes down the road. Yeah, there you go. I think that's all I got. Yeah. Conclave. Have you been there? Hopefully you have. Especially if you live in New Jersey or yourself, or relatively close. Actually, it's not that super far from Pennsylvania. Even New York is not super far. If you find yourself in that Princeton, that'd probably be, I guess, the biggest town. Closest biggest town to them. If you're kind of floating in that Princeton, New Jersey area, definitely worth a drive. Go check them out. Very tasty stuff. And if you have, let me know down there. If you've been to the brewery, had their beers, what do you think of them? What's your favorite beer from Conclave? Have you had this? If you have had this, what did you think of it? How was your carbonation? All that fun stuff. Mount Rushmore on this, one of the better barrel-aged stouts I've had, at least in the conversation. It's not Mount Rushmore, but very tasty stuff. And yeah, so there you go. Review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you're enjoying some barrel-aged beer right now. That'd be a good thing too. We'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.